It seems people still aren't saving enough to keep them comfortable in their retirement. The Policy Exchange think tank says average wage earners should be saving 6 times more than they are currently. And they want the building up of a pension pot to be made compulsory. Over to our Consumer Affairs correspondent, Poppy Trowbridge in central London. Poppy.
Well, Adam, I'm at a medium-sized business here in London, which is absolutely typical of the kind of company that the government wants to get involved in auto-enrolment. It's called Business Environment, and they provide office space to companies. They've got about 140 employees here. And in just a few months, many of these employees will be auto-enrolled into that government. But today a think tank has gone further, saying that the option to opt out should be withdrawn and that saving for your pension, saving for your retirement should be compulsory. But as you know, saving falls to the young, and I've got a young worker with me here today. And I'd like to ask Will here, you're a sales executive at Business Environment.
I am.
In a few months your company will offer you the option of auto-enrolment. What if you didn't have a choice?
I'd be particularly upset without having a choice. I think financial integrity is very much about being on your own head and your own responsibility. I have my own funds, my own savings that I save monthly, so I'd like to be able to control that. I know exactly what I need to put away, what I can afford to put away, and obviously what I can save individually for whatever's around the corner. So not having the choice would be quite restricting, I think.
Well, let me ask you, how old are you now?
I'm 22.
And when do you think you might retire?
Decades to come. I think I've got a fair few years yet, but it's hard to think about, obviously, the long-term process of it, and retirement is a long way away. Like I said, I think I've got a fair few years left in my career, but obviously having a pension scheme helps you. It's a long-term investment. It's hard to think about at this age, but it's a good reason and a good way to put money away, but on my own terms.
Do you actually save in a pension now, and where does that fall in your financial priorities?
I don't currently, because as I said, it's hard to think about in the long term, but it's something I'm enrolling into within the next few months.
But you wouldn't like it if the government made it compulsory, even though you aren't saving yet. You want to do that on your own time?
Yes, because it allows me to control what I'm putting in, what I'm saving, and what I'm taking out.
Well, let me ask you about this. The government this think tank also wants to suggest a certain portion of one's salary be saved automatically. How would you feel about saving a set amount of your salary?
Again, I think that's really restrictive because, I mean, people save in different ways and different forms. I have my savings to, again, you never know what's around the corner. I have kids to think about in the future. I have a mortgage to think about. So I need to have my own savings to cover that. I need to save in case the water bursts in my flat, for example.
So it's a non-starter for you, this idea of compulsory pension savings at a compulsory rate. Let me bring in one of your colleagues here now. Tom, do you mind joining us?
Sure.
Well, I brought Tom in here because you're a bit closer to retirement, aren't you, Tom?
Well, a little bit closer,
Looking forward to it, I hope. How do you feel about this suggestion that saving for your retirement through your monthly salary should be compulsory?
I agree with basically what Will said. I think he's admirable doing what he's doing. I think it's down to the individual. You've got to have your own freedom of choice with all this stuff. I'm not a good example because my dad, when I was 18 and young, said, "Oh, you've got to join a pension scheme. You've got to save up all your life." And I was young, thought I was immortal, you know, and had a bit of cash.
But this is the problem.
Well, things seem to have got frozen there. Let's get an update on the weather. Sarah.
As the hot spell extends across the Gulf,